right, everybody, so here's a question for you. Do you have a lot of old soil like this? If you do you know what to do with it? Here's my advice. Do not throw it away. Save your money. I'm going to go over this little trick that I have done for years. It has saved me so much money. So look, when you have old soil, don't throw it away. Just amend it, bring it back to life, and repurpose it. Let me show you how. I know the initial thought is, well, let's get rid of this. It's no good. All the nutrients are out of it. It's not even holding water anymore. The water just flows through it. You know, the soil has issues. It has bugs, etc., etc. I get all that. But the soil is still good. It's still a good medium. It just needs to be brought back to life. Now, let's go over a couple things that I just said right there. So if the soil has bugs or ants, or you're worried that, you know, this disease was in the soil from last year or whatever, that's normal. That'll be no different than if all you're doing is amending your raised beds. I've amended that bed. I've amended that bed and that bed and over there, all those containers. And if there were bugs or fungus or, you know, disease or whatever in any of that soil, it's still going to be there. That doesn't mean the soil's bad. It just means you got to work through it. Rotate your crops. If you grew one crop in this section last year and you had a bunch of wireworms, well, grow something different in that section. Or if you had a bunch of aphids, which you're going to get aphids no matter what, then grow something different in that area if you're really worried about it. But when you introduce new nutrients, new composts, new soils to those beds, it's changing up the dynamic of that bed. And here's a little secret about gardening. Pests are everywhere, y'all. You're going to deal with pests. Just because you're worried about the soil doesn't mean the soil is the issue. It could just be the plant that you're growing. It could be your environment. It could be what the neighbor's doing next door. You never know. But if you want to save money on your soil, definitely don't throw it away. Now, I mentioned, what if it doesn't hold water? So a lot of times soil will get to where it does not retain water. It is so dried out that water literally just flows right through it. If that's the case, here's a really simple trick. Get a bunch of soil that isn't holding water, put it in a bucket, and soak it, and let it sit there for a few hours. Then drain it. That soil will then start retaining water again. You just have to force the soil to start absorbing the water like it used to do before it got all dried out and everything. It's very easy to do, and you're going to save yourself a lot of money. Now, if you go to the big box stores and you're walking down those aisles and you're looking at all these bags of soil and mulches and all that, and your brain is just like, man, this is going to cost a lot of money. Because I mean, one bag of a lot of premium stuff is like $8-9 for one bag. Y'all, that's insane. Find a nursery, find a local company that makes their own stuff that's cheaper than what you're going to pay at the big box stores. But here's a trick that I'm going to show you. What I have always done is I've taken the soil that is old, that has had plants growing in those containers for the previous year, and I amend the soil. And what do I amend with? Well, I like to put a fresh bunch of organic compost into the soil. Mix it all together. What you're doing is, yes, you are going to spend a little money on a bag of compost, but that bag of compost can go a long way if you have a bunch of containers that have old soil. Save yourself the money. Instead of buying all new, 10, 15 bags worth of material, buy 2 or 3 bags of compost and save yourself all that money while revitalizing the soil that you've already been using. I also like to add a blood meal and bone meal into those soils. Again, it's not super expensive, and you're still saving money by doing these tricks that I'm showing right here, as opposed to going and buying bags and bags and bags of brand new soil that you're going to have to do every year. Why do that? Just keep reusing existing soil by bringing it back to life. Hope I'm not being a dead horse here, but it is really easy, super cost effective, and you are going to save yourself so much money in the long run. Now, if you're going to use your new soils in containers. I advise and suggest you also add perlite to the mix. That will help retain moisture in that soil blend for the containers. Okay, so this barrel is completely ready to rock and roll. It has a fresh new bunch of compost in it. I also added the blood meal and bone meal and eggshell, crab and lobster mixture into that container. That thing is ready to rock and roll now. I plant whatever I want in there, and it's gonna be good to go for the year. Now I wanna make sure I'm not misleading anyone. You are going to still spend money. You're just not gonna spend as much money when you do this trick right here. I won't even call it a trick. When you do this right here, when you are adding new material to your existing material. Does that make sense? So what I have to do now, just to be transparent with what I'm doing in my backyard, is I have already amended all of them, all of those container gardens, all the figs, all the citrus, all that over there. I've already amended all these beds. I need to amend this bed and this bed, add more to this bed that has become what it is right now. Gotta do the same thing to these that I just did to those. And I still need to spray paint those black containers white so they won't absorb the heat of my summers here and cook my plants, which I learned last year. But that's another video. That's down the road, y'all. Stop jumping ahead. Hey. Hey. You want to say hi? You want to say hi to your fans? Huh? No? She's just like, man, can we get some normal weather here? Okay, but I still have a lot. I have to do this method. I have to do all this to all my containers. And y'all, I have a lot of them down there. I have a lot of pepper starts going. But this is what you can do to seriously save you a bunch of money and to keep reusing, repurposing existing material that you already have. So it's a win-win-win, right? It's a win-win-win. Win-win. It's a win. All right, everyone. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. I did this topic a couple years ago. I'll put a link to that video up right here. Believe me, this works. Just go out. And one thing I did not say, I also will add in a rose mix that I use, a rose blend, because most rose blends, y'all, if you don't know, they have an acidity in the soil because roses need acidity. Well, so do most vegetables. That's why I won't always go and get an organic garden mix. I'll get a rose soil. Does the same thing, and pretty much, no, every single bed that I have out here, every bed, every container, everything is pretty much mostly compost and the rose soil. And I layer stuff. I don't do any tilling. The only time I dig is when I'm planting. She behind me, y'all? Dog is always behind me. She's my shadow out here. What? Want to say hi to everybody? Want to say hi to everybody? You ever hear that song? Or you remember that? For those of you in my age range, you remember that song? I always feel like somebody's watching me. Yeah. She is always right around me outside. All right, I'll stop messing around. Seriously though, this does work. So try it, save yourself some money, and just enjoy the process of gardening and doing everything you can to cut costs, right? Because let's be real, whether you're on a fixed budget or you just have money to blow, you still got money, you're still spending money. Why spend so much when you don't need to? That's the way I think of things out here in the garden. All right, everybody, if y'all enjoyed this video, as always, do me the 3 favors. Share, like, subscribe to this channel if you've not done so already. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please consider doing so. If I earned your subscription today, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell so you're always notified whenever I upload videos. And y'all join this fast-growing community of like-minded gardeners here on YouTube. Y'all take care, God bless, continue to shine bright, harvest hard. Spring's around the corner. I hope everyone's getting ready. Even if you're up north, spring is still coming. Maybe just a little longer for y'all. For us down here in the south, it's here, y'all. Hope you got everything out. Hope you're preparing. Talk to y'all again real soon. Bye.